Hi, this is Cynthia Ortiz. It is October 27th, 2021, and these are the Charles Perry Stalker podcasts. We only do these if we have to, because we have other crap to do in our lives. Unlike Mr. Perry, we have a life. So these are not a political ad, as he's claimed, but we're going to do the disclaimer, use allegedly. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Apply the but-for standard, but for Mr. Perry coming to Oklahoma, where I am, to harass, stalk, and commit every RICO violation in the book, allegedly, we wouldn't have to do this. So the purpose of this, Mr. Powell, do not speak for me ever again, is not a political ad. Mr. Perry, you either. I'm a grown woman. I got a 3.88 GPA in college. I'm on the dean's list. I'm not 12. I'm 50. So nobody speaks for me but me. No one speaks for me but me. My intent is what I've said it is for years, to document stalker activity. Any police officer that's halfway decent is going to tell you got to document what they do because you need it in court. And it is to establish premeditation and malicious intent. There's no political vendetta here, Mr. Perry. You look fucking delusional. You need to produce evidence of this political vendetta that you've imagined. This is not a political ad. There are no political ads. This has nothing to do with politics. It's about a personal matter, Mr. Powell, Mr. Burson, Mr. Perry. You got a personal problem. You got a freaky Jason thing in your head. It's a crime, nothing else. No one gives a shit about your politics. You're not relevant. Not to me. There's a high level of irritation with you, sir, and the ridiculous amount of times everybody's had to repeat the same things. You don't speak for me. No one does. There is no intent to ruin you politically. I don't care. I've said that over and over and over and over and over. Way back in 2011. It's all about, I'm pissed that you're stalking me. You're doing this shit where I live in Oklahoma. I moved twice to get away from you and avoid a conflict. And all you had to do is go the fuck away. So, no one ever again assert anything like intent for me. I do that. No one else does that. Mr. Powell, there's nothing political here. Nothing. Produce the evidence of a political vendetta. When I'm pissed off, I rant like a motherfucker. I would tell somebody somewhere in the last decade what the issue was I was mad about. There would be something, and there's nothing, because I don't give a shit about Mr. Perry's imaginary political kingdom. I don't. I've been in politics all my life. I was born into it. All of a sudden, I just stop and go be a stripper. Are you move twice? And don't tell anybody what he's, I don't tell anybody the political issue ever in 10 years. There's no rants. There's no angry, texts about it. There's nothing. Because there's not a political, it's in his imagination. Everything is. He's delusional. Okay, so apply the but-for standard, but for criminal activity being directed at me and my family and my friends and my coworkers. We wouldn't do this. It is to document it when there's a threat, whether Perry poses a threat or just makes a direct threat, or has someone make it for him. It's going to be documented, because we're going to use it in court against him. We're going to prove he premeditated it, and we're going to prove his intent was malicious. Okay? That's what these are for. Every email, that's what those are for. Every text, that's what those are for. Everything on Facebook, everything on the blog, Mr. Powell, that is what they're for. There's no political ad. And fuck you for saying that. Don't speak for me again. And I've already told you all that. Do not speak for me about anything. No one has the authority to speak on my behalf or make any decision on my behalf. I'm a grown woman. I'm doing that by myself. I had a great life before you, Mr. Perry. My guys have pulled 200 plus emails and texts that you intercepted and I never saw. Everybody said, if you look at her emails and Facebook messages and posts on her Facebook and her communications with her family and her friends, it's vastly different once Charles Perry came in her life. It is awful. You can tell he's trying to isolate her. That's what stalkers do. Subjugate. Domestic violence is one partner trying to assert control over the other. Physical, by way of physical abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, and economic abuse. And your fingerprints are all over my life. We have a witness that says Charles Perry has a sex pervert problem. He has trolled women ever since I've known him. He finds women who are divorced with kids. He puts a camera in their house when they're not home, and he broadcasts them all over the dark web. Mr. Perry, that's been broadcast all over the net, all over the world. You have no idea in all these years who has seen that and who they reported it to and what country they're in. There's more than one. And it's in the U.S. too. You are using women to get a thrill. You're in trouble for human rights violations, the torment, the torture, and the starvation of little kids and their mommies. He said he causes these women to be fired. He hacks them so he can see where they're applying for new work. He makes sure they can't get a job. They lose the house, then he has the ex take the kids away, as long as I've known him. He's a sexual sadist. He likes getting women hysterical so he can go rub one out. I say jack off. That guy said rub one out. That's a quote from the witness. You are acting like you are trying as hard as you can to prove that guy right and to prove me right. And your people just went over all this and said, she's got the I told you so factor. She's got the harassment email. She's got the McNamara email. She's got the texts and emails about trying to arrange a false arrest and kill her. Going way the fuck back. The cigarette butts you were taking from my work, my gum, my personal items, that was documented in 2019. It's actually before that, in 2017. There's more. I'm not going to give you all my evidence. So today the guy's like, there's no way she killed that girl because it takes one cigarette butt to get a DNA match. He's been taking all her cigarette butts from her work every time she goes since 2017. What does he need all that for? He was trying to plant a gun on her in her car at Zio's because he's had all this time, for this murder frame up. It's election time, so he's doing it now. Richard, you don't need my foot imprint. There's no crime here. You're involved in conspiracy to commit false arrest. That's a crime in Oklahoma. Fraud upon a court. You're a part of that. You're in some trouble. If I know about it, that means the guys that are investigating you got the information from you and gave it to me, or I wouldn't know about it. I haven't been to Sensations in a while, so nobody from there told me anything. Nobody told me anything. We don't talk about it at work. I don't. Very seldom. Only if I have to would I talk about this shit with my coworkers. I go in there to make money. I don't want to talk about this there. I want to go in there, I want to make money, and I want to go home. And that's it. I've had umpteen jillion cops coming at me. You got an elected official from another state coming up to Oklahoma to make problems. And I said it in 2015. 2 police officers told me he's just trying to find a way to false arrest you. He asked us to help. We said no. That's not why we signed up to be police. But that doesn't mean he won't find an asshole that'll do it. So watch everything you do. So yeah, he's had a lot of cops on me. I've given a lot of lap dances to a lot of cops. I don't have a problem with that because I don't do things wrong, so I don't have anything to hide. I actually had a lot of fun with some of them. I came from police. That's like going home to dinner for me. But the thing is, there's not been an arrest in Oklahoma. There's not been any charges in Oklahoma all this time. And now, here we are at election season again, and he's working every angle he can work. He needs another smear campaign, just like he did last time it was time for him to run for office in 2016. So yeah, he's had people collecting my cigarette butts every time I go to work. My gum, my clothing items. I've had clothing items stolen right off the stage. So then they wanted me to go back out there and dance. We got to get her back on that pole. Who's that, Calvin? We got to get Cindy back on that pole and on the schedule. Well, I'm not going in there if there's no customers in there. My guy's like, that place is too dangerous for you. He's going to kill you, or he's going to frame you for something, or he's going to arrange a false arrest or something. They go in there and they take pictures of you. That's illegal. We own those photos. We use those for marketing. We're self-employed. You don't go in there and take pictures. Those are our pictures, owned by the dancer and the club. You have to get signed consent to take the picture, and then you have to tell us what you're going to use it for and get consent for that. And then you're limited on what we agree to. Mr. Perry likes taking things that don't belong to him. He's using my body to make money on the dark web, just like the witness says. You don't know how many people have seen that, Charles, and who all they talk to, do you? Listen, we don't have any problem with you running for office. You are in office now because we put you there. You know why? Because when you're after a criminal like you and a criminal enterprise like you've got and all your little partners, your little mafia, your little sex pervert clan, your enterprise where you use women's bodies and the kids' bodies, child pornography, by the way, to make a profit. You're raking it in while you starve us to death. You know what we can do? We can put you in a position of public where the public is entitled to know what you do in your private life. You're under scrutiny by law. You're being paid by taxpayers. They have the right to know whatever it is you do. You stub your toe, they have the right to know. You cause someone else to stub their toe, they have the right to know. You murder somebody, they have the right to know. That's the way that is. If you don't like that, you wouldn't have run for office, right? And guess what else can happen? Our undercovers can get to you. Same as you get your undercovers to me. You don't know if you're shaking the hand of a police officer undercover, or if you're shaking the hand of a campaign donor or potential voter. But you are, we have nothing against you running for office. We think it's great. Have at it. You have our full support. We help you win. We help you win. So if this is a campaign ad, it's for you, not against you. The more you're in public, the easier you are for our undercovers to get to you when you're out shaking hands and kissing babies. Run for office, please do. We are not against that. As it turns out, you're in an 86% district. Anybody that replaces you is going to be the same as you. So what would be the point of a political vendetta? You are something else with your grandiose thinking. You think you matter. You don't. Certainly not to me. I haven't lived in Lubbock for 7 years. I left in 2013. November of 2013, I moved. I left to get away from you. Who does this thing where you're born into politics and law enforcement and you live in that life all your life? And then I lobbied for my patient's federal legislation. I lobbied state only in New Mexico, never in Texas. Never in Texas. I did State Board of Education issues. It's an entirely different voting body. Those are elected positions too, and you're not on that board. You were a state representative, and I left before you became a senator. I stopped even voting in 2012. I started selling medical supplies. You were in that too, by the way. We know that. Do you think my guys don't have evidence of that too? I promise you they do. You need to get your head out of your ass. No one has caught your crime like we have. No one. And the more you fuck with me, the more you get caught. And the more you fuck with me, the more you get caught. And it has been that way every day for 6 years, and you are not getting it. When you fuck with me, you don't get a date. Nobody's in love with you. You get caught. And you come up here where I am, and you cause problems. Now, I hear my club is empty. My guys are saying he has posed such a risk to you at that club that before, when you're making money, it was worth it to go in there and go ahead and put up with it. And just get whatever you can that he does to you while you're in there so we can prove he is harassing our witness in Oklahoma where she lives. Not in Texas. She didn't go to Texas. He's going where you are. He's harassing our witness. He's harassing our victim. We're going to get him. So go in there and get all the evidence you can get. Doesn't hurt when the bad guy comes right to you. So, but you're coming home with money. But now, he's run all the customers out of that club, and what COVID didn't take, he will. He did. So it's not worth it now for you to go out there and put up with that shit and put yourself at risk for $30. So I hear my club's been empty for the last 2 nights. Is that true? You better fucking fix that. Listen, I'm not giving you a choice. If you broke it, you fix it. If you broke it, you fix it. You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. You're hurting people, and you're going to stop. Our guys are going to deal with this in their way, in their time, in the way they do things. It's not just about one man stalking. It's about a business, a mafia. They want all of you. They want all of you at the same time, and they want all of you buried so bad. There's no. They don't need to make a deal with any of you. They don't need anybody to flip. They don't need anybody. They won't need it. That's why this is taking so long. And there was some grace given to TPD, but TPD is not really stepping up, are they? So, at the end of the day, what happens is you got a police department that's not getting it done. The speech at the end of that is going to be, why did you not get that done, TPD? They did. Somebody else had to come in and do it. Somebody else is. Or you fucking step up and then you can make the announcement, we caught the bad guy. It's your choice. We don't care. We're getting it done. Doesn't matter what you guys do. We're getting it done. We're doing what you won't do. There are other police protecting me because you won't. It's pathetic. I've never seen anything like it in my life. I'm raised in 3 generations of police. 3. It doesn't get any more cop family than me. That's not to say there's not 1 or 2 helping us. I'm not going to tell, that's none of you. If you're not on the right side of this, that's your problem. Like I said, get your speech ready. Because you're going to have people ask you, why didn't you do shit? Why didn't you do something? Why the hell did you not do something? So you figure out how you're going to explain that. Or get to work. Catch the bad guy. I don't care. I heard there's a mafia guy in Tulsa Police Department sitting on them trying to see who's leaking. If that's true, sir, get the fuck out of there. If that information is corrected, I have not confirmed it yet, so I don't know. But we got that information that there's a guy, head of the mafia, sitting in Tulsa Police Department making sure there's no leaks. And I'm going to tell you right now, you got somebody else on you, too. You got somebody else on you. You're not going to find who's leaking. You're not going to find it. You need to get the fuck out of there. You're harassing police. Get out. You don't have a choice. It's funny that you guys think you have a choice as many times as we've caught you. As many times as you've been quoted, you think you have a choice. It is unbelievable. You don't kill another cop. We know you killed Lucky. We know you did. We know you tried to kill Mike and you framed him. Because Mike pulled off the impossible. He's found unconscious. Doesn't remember anything. Has not a mark on him. The arrest report says not a mark on him. A red swollen right hand where he had an IV, which probably caused the red swollen. You don't beat someone to death like that. You don't. It's not possible. And I said, get him out or we will. And you won't like it how we do it. If we get what you just said, what do you think we can do? If they got the Fabian puzzle to me in jail, what the hell do you think we can do? You don't know right now what we can and cannot do you? But you're seeing things happen you've not seen before. If you got a mafia guy at TPD sitting on them, get the fuck out of there if that's true information. You have no business doing that. I don't know what the hell you're thinking. Why don't you get your fat ass over here to my house and sit on my fucking living room floor and see what it's like to live without no furniture? Because you guys take my money. I'm not shitting you. You don't know what you're dealing with. Do ya? But you're seeing things happen you've not seen before. Get the hell out of there. Stop threatening cops. Cop family sticks together in ways you don't even, I'm sorry, but you can't figure it out. You can't imagine it. You have no idea. You don't know. But you stepped in it on this one. And you have Charles Perry to thank for that. So why don't you and Charles go have lunch and have a love fest and leave everybody else alone? All right? I'm not asking you. I'm telling you. That's what you're going to do. If you don't do it, that's fine. But then don't cry and whine when you get, that legal shitstorm that hits, about to hit you. You asked for it. If we're quoting you verbatim all the time, maybe you need to think about, we can't ask who told and who these guys are and then act like there's no guys. That doesn't even make sense. That does not make sense. And the more Charles contacts me, the more he invades my privacy, the more loss and drama he causes, not just me, my family, the Neelys, the Millers, and everybody I work with, and everybody I live around, and everybody I know. The harder my guys go at you, because we don't want you gone, so you can't do that anymore. We want you gone in a way. Nobody needs a... There's not going to be a conversation where a prosecutor comes in and says, if you'll flip, I'll give you a deal. That's not going to happen. We don't need it. We'll see at trial. Okay? It's that bad. You're in that much shit. Because for 6 years plus, I'm quoting you. I'm typing. You don't even have all the emails. You hacked me. You should know. I got the McNamara email's a problem. The harassment email's a problem. No evidence was preserved is a problem. The Mike was drugged email is a problem. These are all happening before. Right? Isn't that what these guys said your guys said? The bond conditions are a problem. The Fabian puzzle's a problem. The texts and emails from all these guys Charles sent in, that's a problem. She's got text, she's got recordings. Look at this. This is ridiculous. He's taking her cigarette. He was been taking my cigarette butts and my gum and my clothing items since when I was at Lady Godiva's 2017. And there are texts and emails about that too, going way back that you don't have, but Philip and Mallory have it. I have it. So the guy says, there's no way she killed that girl. You need one cigarette butt to match DNA. Here we are at election time again. All these years he's been taking her cigarette butts every time she goes to work. He's been taking her gum or her clothing items since way back then. What do you need all those cigarettes for? You don't need them to match DNA. You might need them to plant at a murder scene. She's supposed to go to Zeos. She didn't go. Somebody told her, don't go to Zeos. They were going to put a gun in her car. I've never owned a gun. You wanted my lighter? Because when you flick a lighter, you're going to get your skin cells on that thing, aren't you? Yeah, Richard wanted my lighter. Richard wants my foot imprint. Richard is part of a conspiracy to arrange a false arrest and perpetrate a fraud upon the court. Richard's in a lot of trouble. Richard needs to get a grip on reality. Right, Richard? Well, everybody's wanting my shoe size. Everybody's wanting my height. Mr. Perry had me false arrested. He's got my height. All that's on that record, on those records. He didn't need my height. He knows it. Any cop can pull that up and look at it. Because when you take your mugshot, they got a little measuring thing right there next to you so you can see your height. So what do you have all these guys asking me how tall I am for, huh? What a bunch of bozos. I don't even know what to say to that. So those are all big problems. And then he's got a big, bad, long history of witness tampering. So now nobody knows what to believe with your people. Because if you don't lie for me, I'll take all your money. I'll take your car. I'll do to you what I do to her. You'll be false arrested. You'll lose your business. We'll ruin your life. Threats and threat after threat after coercion after threat after coercion. Mr. Perry, I'm going to tell you something. When everybody starts looking at my bank accounts and the revenue at Sensations and appeals due, and I don't have any money all of a sudden, or I'm supposed to testify in a murder trial of a police officer who's innocent that you did something to, which if you did, you wouldn't give a shit if I testified or not, would ya? See, you're crazy, but you're not crazy enough. If you were crazy enough, you could maybe assert the defense of insanity, but the thing is, you have to have a mental disease substantial enough that it made it where you can't tell the difference between crime because the intent to commit a crime can't be proven if you didn't know that's what you were doing. But you keep trying to cover it up, so you can't even use that. You can't use the insanity defense when you witness tamper. Acts showing consciousness of guilt, admissible under Rule 404. I've studied it. I didn't go to law school, but I had to go against all your attorneys. And then I did, I guess, such a good job, you don't even let me in court. You want to starve me out so I can't file an appeal? That's what that guy said. Is that what you're trying to do? Or she can't file a 12-1031 motion to vacate. Guess what? The U.S. attorney said, I'm not going to tell you which one because there's a whole nation full of them and you don't know which ones are involved in what we're doing. But I'm going to tell you something. He goes, she can file the 12-1031 after the deadline, after the 2-year deadline, because she can prove Charles is interfering with her ability to do that on purpose. Look at her bank accounts, for God's sake. Look at the revenue at that club. There's not a whole... She got pictures of those guys sitting outside the club. They are running off her money. And guess what else? When I tell my guys, I'm gonna apply for work here or call my dad and tell him I want my inheritance money, Dad. I've never asked for it. You should have given it to me in 2007. You've converted those funds. I've never mentioned it in all this time, but right now I got to help a cop. You used to be a cop. You come from cop. You need to get behind me if you've never helped me before. I know you've done everything you can do to ruin my life too, Lynn. But right now, let's just forget it. Let's put all that aside and let's help Officer Neely get home to his family. Let's step up, do the right thing for him. Let's help somebody else for a change and not be selfish, Mr. Hall. I tell my guys before, and you guys don't know. You have no way of knowing. And so they set everything up. So when you start calling Lynn, don't give her money. When you start calling State Farm, don't pay her claim. When you start calling somebody I'd apply for work for, don't give her work. They gotcha. You're fucked, David. And most of that's done by you and Charles, isn't it? So the U.S. Attorney goes, she can still file it outside the time because she can prove they impeded it intentionally. They obstructed intentionally. You're about to go to prison. When you're in prison, we don't have to put up with this shit anymore. Sensations will be full again. My bank accounts will be full again. My guys tell me you won't be broke again. Unless you go to Vegas and blow all your money, you'll never, ever be broke again. I can have my privacy back. My family and I can talk again without somebody butting in and causing a problem. Say this to her. Say that to her. Try to get this from her. Try to get that from her. Gaslighting. Which doesn't work, by the way. You try that, don't you? I go to a church. You go to the church and meet with them and tell them, here's what you're to say to her if she comes back. Gaslighting. We need you to get, if she confesses to a murder, we needed to tell us. I'm not going to confess to a murder because I've not committed a murder. My guys can get what you just said, Richard, that you need my foot imprint. It only takes one cigarette butt to get a DNA match. He's been taking them since 2019 at least. But it's actually longer than that. Then he'd have had that DNA match by now. He's taking every cigarette she puts out at work every time she goes. So if he's collecting all her cigarettes, that's the plan. That's not getting a match. That's not for a DNA match, Mr. Perry. So if we can get that information, what you just said, the McNamara email, the harassment email, the Mike was drugged email, the I told you so factor, you can't overcome that. If we can get all that, what else can we do? Once you're in jail, we don't have to put up with this bullshit ever again. Ever. So, all of this, you've got the Pinto recording. Sleep with them for $5,000. I know it creeps you out. So be creeped out for a couple hours and be $5,000 richer. Solicitation of prostitution. Can't overcome that either, can ya? Over and over and over. You just get caught, bitch. You're pathetic. You just get caught. You got somebody calling me now? We got 9 pages. 9 pages of numbers you spoofed trying to call me. It went to my service. I have a service. I don't know what the fuck. Who the fuck do you think you're fooling? Mr. Perry? You shouldn't know I'm recording. In order to, have your clone phone pop up a phone call or whatever. Right? How many times have you been trying to get my ringtone? You're using Uber Eats customers to do that too? I think you are. I think we know you are. You sent customers into my club. Now you're using Uber Eats customers to get my ringtone. Jesus. Who the hell do you guys think you're fooling? There's nothing political about any of this. This is not political. You sent this guy in. See, here's the other thing. And then you got Mickey James, you got Terry Wagner. When you're trying to force somebody to do something against their will, by force, taking their money, I'm going to starve her and then she'll call me and do what I tell her. We just need her to apologize. We're going to arrest her under, again, go into court and commit fraud and perjury and have her arrested and force her against her will to apologize. Because I need a cover up. I've let all these years we've been collecting her cigarettes, and by now you ought to have a DNA match. It's not about getting a DNA match. It's about planting evidence, or you'd only need one cigarette. And you've been getting my cigarette butts since 2017. And Mallory Miller has all of that, and so does Philip Wishcamper. I document to get premeditation. You planned it. You premeditated a crime. You sat around in a little fucking meeting. And y'all discussed, here's what we're going to do to her today. And it's something every day. Take her money. starve her to death. Then she won't have any choice but to lie. Recorded over and over and over and over and over. And the guy's like, she's got 5 people. She's got Robertson's text. Don't let your life fade away. I can't promise the stalking will end without death and destruction. Yeah, we gave you arsenic. She's got all those texts. I'm just Charles Perry's muse. We got those texts. And then we've got Mickey James. I signed an NDA. I've been watching behind the scenes. Maybe it's worth the suspicion of Gary Condit and Chandra Levy to go ahead and kill you. He actually said that. There won't be any charges in Oklahoma, I'm sorry to tell you. Really, Mickey? I said it doesn't matter. He's got somebody else on him. Oh, he's had it since before I got here. And he's got... Then she's got Terry Wagner, who goes in the strip club on the night their wife dies. His money... He's buying dances from her to pay. If she's a good girl, they'll send him in to give her money. Or if somebody like Chief Miller's complaining, he'll send Terry in to get a VIP. But if she's a bad girl and she does something like try to testify for an innocent man at a murder trial, all of a sudden they cut the money off and Terry's nowhere to be found. He won't talk. If she's filing an appeal, all of a sudden he doesn't text back. And his wife used to run the auction. Give her some jewelry. Starve her to death. Have her pawn it off. Then we'll get her on stolen jewelry. Only he gave me cheap shit, so that didn't work out. Our guys are like, I took a picture of it, put it online. Our guys are like, we've showed the jewelry to our jewelry guy, and he says, I don't think they gave her the jewelry yet that they wanted her to pawn, because this is Walmart crap. It's not worth $10. A pawn shop isn't going to take that. Lovely. I mean, over and over we've documented what you guys tried to do. It's election time. Now all of a sudden, now we got a DNA match. Fucking really? I was documenting you taking my cigarette butts from way back when. I've never held a gun. Not even held one. Back in Lubbock, before I needed it for this, I'm asking Paul Scarborough, how the hell do you take the safety off a gun? I don't even know. He's trying to explain it to me on the phone, and I'm like, dude, I got to see the gun. But you know what? I still haven't seen the gun. Still don't know. After that conversation, I never brought it up again. I don't think I even saw Paul after that. I think we ended up moving. I don't think we even saw each other after that. So, I mean, I've never had a gun. Prove where never had a gun. You got to plant a gun at Zeos. You have the gun. I don't have the gun. My guys would know if I did something like that, they'd put me in jail. But if they're calling me and telling me he's trying to arrange a murder false arrest now, then they recorded you talking about it. They recorded you talking about it. I think when I was in Sapulpa, they recorded you talking to somebody, and he goes, I'm having a hard time getting the ballistics to work on this gun. And you were throwing a fit, and you stomped your feet and got mad at the guy, and he goes, Charles, this gun is over 10 years old. I can't just make things, Yep, we got that recording too, and I heard it back then. Mallory's got that too. So does Philip. Because you're always trying to put me back in jail to subjugate. When you try to do something, financial abuse, to coerce somebody to do or say something against their will, that's a crime. It's a RICO violation. Charles, I said don't contact me. I don't care what you think. I don't. The more you contact me, the more you peep and hack and invade my privacy, the more you butt into things in my life you have no business even knowing about. The more loss, hardship, and injury you cause me and anybody I know. My guys go at you harder, so we can wrap this up. We don't need to make a deal. We don't need shit, and you're gone. And we don't have to put up with this anymore. They go at you harder, and they get more. And you have made it so easy, it's not even fair. They think you're a mentally retarded man. Because you do the same thing every day you don't get a date, nobody's in love with you. It's been 6 years since the McNamara email, at least that you know of. You don't get a date, nobody's in love with you. You get caught. And yet you do the same thing every day that gets those results. I'm sick of repeating myself. We all are. The judge is sick of hearing me say the same thing over and over again. And you too. What's wrong with these people that we're still talking about the fucking ringtone? He didn't say fucking. He said, what's wrong with these people? We're still talking about this ringtone and getting her car. Is she okay? Is she okay to continue? My guys are like, man, she's a fucking strong-ass bitch. I'll tell you something. Nobody can do it like she can. She's got the perfect makeup. She comes from law enforcement and politics. And she is tough as nails. Yeah, but we help her stay strong. And they do. Excuse me, my allergies are something. It's raining. They do help me stay strong. I couldn't do this by myself. There's no way. There's no way. I have a bunch of old farts who are corrupt pieces of trash coming at me all the time, trying to cause my life ruin, trying to ruin my future, trying to ruin everything I try to do, trying to ruin every relationship I have, coming at me all the fucking time, every day, for a decade. And I'm not depressed. I'm fine. I just go right back at it. It's routine, like brushing my teeth. It's just part of the job. Deal with the threat and move on. Deal with the threat and move on. Got other shit to do. Let's go. I've got a 3.88 GPA in college. I'm on the dean's list. While you're trying to ruin my life and take my car and starve me into a lie and on and on and on and make claims about a political ad, emails a political ad. Oh my God, wow. Oh my God, wow. That's what the whole conversation was about. Did she pay Google Pay yet? Did she pay Google yet? Now we can say it's a political ad. No. There's nothing political about this. It's never been about politics. You have an imaginary political vendetta, and you don't have a shred of evidence to support your imagination. You are stalking. That's personal, and it's crime. And the public has a right to know what you do in your personal life. And actually, I didn't tell anybody for 4 years, Mr. Perry, giving you plenty of time to control yourself. I moved twice, then I went to the media. Because you were going to kill me, and I wasn't going to be Chandra Levy. Wasn't going to be Chandra. Otherwise, I wouldn't have said a word. You had 4 years to control yourself. I said nothing. Nothing to the media. Only my closest friends knew, and 3 of those people did not live in Texas. Cheryl knew, and Lori knew, because they saw you. They were with me all the time. They were with me when you did weird shit. I had to explain it eventually. What's going on between you and Charles? What's going on here? Yeah. I'd like to know that too, actually. Why is he always showing up where I am? Or his staff? Where I am, in Oklahoma, all this crap happens. My car has been wrecked 4, 5 times in the last 2 years. Has your car been wrecked? Do you have people hitting your car all the time? Trying to ruin your engine? Going around Lubbock telling people to have his car towed and sold before he figures out it's not legal. You got that happening to you? I don't think you do. But it's happening to me. Go back to Lubbock. Go be with your family. You know, there was a phone call last night. I'm not going to give you all the details of this. But there was a gentleman who was kind of going, wow, I didn't know Charles had this side. And the guy goes, let me ask you something. You say you're good friends with this man. But I don't know. I mean, when's the last time you saw him? Well, it's been a while. When's the last time you saw him with his wife? It's been even longer. I can't even tell you when I saw him last. Because he's never in Lubbock. So what's he doing when he's never in Lubbock? Do you know? Do you think people suspected BTK was a serial killer? His own wife didn't suspect. He's out trolling women. She's not with him, is she? So you're telling me you haven't seen this side of Charles Perry? Of course you haven't. Because you haven't even seen him. He's not in Lubbock. He's in Oklahoma all the time. You're going to have to prove in our court what town you live in and what you do with every minute of your time to prove you're not doing what we say and what we're alleging in court, that you're a peeping Tom and a hacker. And you don't have a life, you're just sitting around planning crime after crime after crime. You're going to have to prove that you're not doing that with your time, sir. And I've said that. You, David, Josh, Joe, Matt, all of you. You're going to have to prove in our court that you're not doing what we say all fucking day, every day. I don't like you. I moved twice to get away from you. I kept my mouth shut for 4 years. The media didn't find out till 2015. I was long gone from Texas, not just Lubbock. I moved from Lubbock in November 2013. I left. I went to the Dallas area, and I lived there and fell for another man in Had to leave, and I wanted to stay there with him. But it got so dangerous and unbearable with your stalking, I had to leave the state altogether. Load up my kid, fit whatever we can in the car, and go to Oklahoma. We did that in September 2014. We've been here ever since. I've been here ever since. I've not even left the state. Not even left. When you had me arrested against my will, I left the state, but I have not left it voluntarily. So, you're going to have to prove in our court what the hell you're doing with your time all day. All of you. Even the fat guy at, if that's true, the story's true about some fat guy, mafia, sitting on TPD, you too. Get the hell out of there. I don't know what the fuck, I'll tell you what. So, don't threaten a cop. Listen, if you threaten cops, we're going to find out about it and we're going to deal with it. We're not putting up with that. Whether everybody else does the right thing or not, we do the right thing. Because at the end of the day, it's not between us and them, it's between us and God, is it not? That's the way we believe. Mother Teresa's poem. If you build it, they'll tear it down. And it's a kind of a long poem. Build it anyway. Because at the end of the day, it's not between you and them, it's between you and God. So, when you live your life, you live it knowing God's watching everything. He's keeping score. He's keeping score. Joseph got shit all over all his life. And he became second in command of all of Egypt. And he cried when his brothers bowed down to him because at that moment God kept that promise that he made to him as a kid. And Gandhi says, murderers and tyrants and murderers seem invincible for a time, but history has shown they always fall, always, because we do reap what we sow. It is karma in all religions. Now, stop contacting me, Mr. Perry. I don't give a shit about you. I didn't ask you what you think, what you want, or what you need. I'm going to ask you something. When you did my false arrest and destroyed all my evidence and smeared me everywhere, and every time you have somebody collect my cigarette butts and try to do it again, when you go into a court of law and claim an email about a crime is a political ad, when you know good and well, I've said repeatedly, I don't give a shit about your politics. You're not relevant. You are making people laugh at you that you think you're relevant. You're not. You have 3% of the state of Texas where I don't live. You don't matter to me at all. Never did. I have been in politics all my life. I had plenty of people to call. I got out of it abruptly and haven't even voted since to get away from you. Why would somebody leave the kind of life I had and go work in a strip club unless I had to? Unless I had to, you became a job. You became a job before that, but I'm not going to get into how all that works. I can't even get paid right now because you guys are all up in my bank accounts. They don't want you to find out who they are. They're smart. They're not going to make that mistake and blow the whole thing. So I have done without electricity and I have done without food. Boy, how do you piss them off? Now, whatever thing you've broken, you don't have a choice. You fix it. And you fix it today. You don't have a choice. That's not extortion. That is, why don't you step up and act like a man and make amends? You know, you heard of AA? Alcoholics Anonymous? They've got a step in that called making amends. So if you don't do it, that's fine. I mean, there's nothing we can do except you won't get any mercy if you ask for mercy. So keep that in mind. You may not get it anyway, but you for sure won't get it if you don't take responsibility for the damage you've caused so many people, the devastation. You know, did you ask the owner of Sensations what he thinks and what he feels and what he needs when you run his customers off? Did you ask the Millers what they think and what they feel and what they need before you took Lucky away from them? Did you ask the Neelys what they think and what they feel and what they need before you framed Mike and turned their life upside down? Did you ask me what I think and what I feel and what I need when you false arrested me? When you peep on me? When you hack me? When you cause one problem after another, when I'm starved and no electricity for a week because an appeal is due and I need to help Mike? You know? And It's not much better now. When you called Lynn and Kathy, did you call me and ask me what I think, feel, and need? You didn't. No one cares what you think, feel, or need either. You're a criminal. You're just a criminal. That's it. You broke something, fix it. You don't have a choice. Why don't you do it because it's the right thing to do? Why don't you do it? Listen, and I'm not going to ask that for me. I'm going to ask that for Sensations, and and those girls that work out there. If you wronged them, you fucking make it right. You don't have a choice. Or don't ask who told. And then Mike Neely, get him home. Make it right. Make it right. When I say, let me back up a little bit. When I say fix it, you don't have a choice because there's consequences. And those consequences are the natural outcome of the actions you took. So when I say you don't have a choice, that's what I mean. Because I'm not going to get falsely accused of extortion. Nobody's extorting anything from you. You do have a legal debt, Mr. Perry, that you're going to pay, or I'll see you in court. And it may be after your criminal trial. That's my choice when I choose to do that. But every day that you continue this thing going, you know what you do? You keep the clock running on the laches doctrine for federal court. You keep the clock running on that. So I can wait till after, certainly for federal court, for a motion to vacate, I can wait till you're all in jail, convicted, and the whole thing. The laches doctrine is about timing out something. Well, I mean, the time out of seeking civil remedy, but you keep doing the same thing. You keep that clock going. And the same thing on the state case, because all I have to do is go in and say, they intentionally impeded my ability to meet the deadline. There's been Supreme Court rulings on that. I've read them. You can't do that. Then all of a sudden that extends your deadline. Do you understand? So when I say fix it, what you broke, you don't have a choice, I'm talking about the natural consequences of your actions and nothing else. I'm not extorting shit from you. You can maybe get mercy on the court if you can go into court and say I've made it right, but you won't if you don't. And still there's no guarantee, and that's not up to me. That's up to the judge. It has nothing to do. I don't get to make that decision. That's somebody else's choice, somebody else's decision. My guy might not even ask for it. Nobody owes you anything. Nobody owes you anything, but I'm not going to get accused of extortion. What I'm telling you is, at that club where I don't even work anymore, you hurt people out there. I'd strongly suggest you fix that. Mike Neely, I have nothing to gain for him getting out of jail, except we are sick and tired of watching him suffer. Sick and tired of watching him and his family suffer. And I'd like not to have to do that anymore. Fix it. Or we will. And if we have to do it, it'll be like when we get what you just said. You won't like how that looks. Okay, so we got all this here. We got all that. The perjury and the fraud have all this stuff of these, the text from these other guys that you said you weren't coming into Oklahoma and contacting me. Only you are. And we've got these guys that you proxy stalking. It's called, you use it, you do it by proxy. So there's Pinto, and then there's Mickey James, and there's Terry Wagner, there's David Robertson, and so on. So, yeah, you are coming where I am, and you're causing a problem. And I have the right to defend myself, or to document, what I've learned that you're planning from police, investigating you, and that's not a political ad. I don't know. What does it have to do with abortion? What does it have to do with gun rights? What does it have to do with a political issue? When you plan a crime against me. Where's the evidence of a political issue? Mr. Powell, do not ever again go into a court of law and say she's using her email as a political ad. Fuck you. I am not. Don't speak for me. My intent has been made clear. This is about crime. I don't care anything at all about Mr. Perry's political views.